Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Well, good morning if you're on the West Coast. Good afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Good evening if you're in Europe, and good night if you're in Australia. Welcome to our very first virtual CMH Heli Huddle event. My name is Brody. We're going to dissect the sport of heli-skiing, flying to the top of a mountain in a helicopter and enjoying a guided ski experience back down. I'd like to take a moment to introduce my co-host, Allie. Allie is our employee experience manager and does all of the hiring and recruiting here at CMH, as well as all things related to employee experience. Allie joined us at CMH about 7 years ago in our mountain operations department. And a fun fact about Allie is she's also a triathlete. Hi, Allie.
Hey, Brody. Thank you so much for that intro. And now to return the favor, I'd like to introduce our host with the most. Brody was born and raised in the mountains and has always loved helicopters and skiing. He's been a guide with CMH for 9 years now, and he's the assistant area manager at our Bugaboo Lodge. Fun fact, Brody is also an avid skydiver.
Oh, well, I hope my mom's not watching. I haven't told her that yet, Allie. I'd like to also introduce two in-house panelists we have on set with us today. I'd like to welcome Mike, a 30-year guide and area manager of our Galena operation. As well, I'd like to welcome Peter, 24-year guide and area manager of our Kootenai operation. Welcome, gentlemen. It's good to see you both on here.
Thanks, Brody.
Thank you.
We're all wearing plaid, like we planned this. Classic CMH mountain casual style.
I thought it was a formal event. That's why we're plaid.
Also joining us is Katie, who is our inside sales manager. She recently celebrated her 10-year anniversary with CMH and is one of our incredible staff members who's on a first-name basis with most of our guests.
Hi, everyone.
Mercedes and Alex will also be joining us off camera to support the online Q&A platform. They'll be answering your questions as they come in, so we encourage you to connect with them in the live chat. Any common questions will be addressed during the Q&A at the end of the event.
That's right, Allie. Throw out those questions and they will be answered. Also, pay close attention to today's broadcast because we're asking you a skill testing question pertaining to today's huddle information. The first person to answer the question in the chat bar will win some CMH swag. And if you book a trip with us before April 30th this year, you will be entered in a draw to win that trip outright. Well, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to explain why ski with us here at CMH. Inventing the sport of heli-skiing, we are simply the best at guiding you through life-changing mountain experiences.
And we can give people their best day of skiing because we've been perfecting the guest experience since 1965. We're also known for having an incredible team of staff, many of whom have celebrated their 10, 20, 30, and even 40-year anniversaries with us. Inventing a sport means getting first pick of the best terrain, which Brody's going to go into more detail about in a moment. Here's a photo of CMH founder Hans Moser in the early days of heli-skiing. You'll notice from the photos that the helicopters we use today have changed just a little bit since these were taken. And I'd also like to highlight that CMH has 6 core values which guide all company decisions. An important one to acknowledge here is that we have safety as a priority, which is critical for playing in the backcountry.
That's right. Now, I'd like to roll through a little geography lesson for those of you who aren't familiar with British Columbia's mountains. Let's start on the west side in the Coast Mountains. The Coast Range sits mercy to the onslaught of intense Pacific pressure, low pressure weather systems. They get a ton of snow, but it's also really warm and wet and known as coastal chowder. On the east side sits the Rocky Mountains, and they're certainly not called the Snowies for a reason. With major Arctic air influence, it's often cold, dry, and windy. Now, nestled right in the center is the crown jewel. That's right, the Columbia Mountains. With the perfect mix of coastal precipitation and cold Arctic air, the champagne snow is created here, and that's why all of our CMH areas are located in this region for legendary POW skiing. Now, a mountain range of this size and scale is hard to put in perspective, so I'd like to show you some comparisons so you can see just exactly what kind of magnitude we're talking about. But before I do, I want to look at this picture. This is when I took myself out of the front seat of the heli. This is a run called Dream Machine at our Galena operation. I'm not sure if you can see the ski tracks and the skiers there. This glacier is basically a green run at a ski resort, but it's still pretty humbling. Right, okay, comparison. So here we got a little red triangle. That's the biggest ski resort in the world. At 8,000 acres, it hosts up to 30,000 people a day. Now, all the North American ski resorts combined, 132,000 acres. And let's say the President's Day weekend, there's up to 500,000 people skiing on those resorts. Our average CMH tenure is 300,000 acres, so nearly 3 times of all the North American ski resorts. And there's only 44 skiers there. Now, here's the big one. All of our CMH tenures combined, a whopping 3 million acres. That's right, 3 million acres of skiable terrain and only 450 skiers. And yeah, I can say that it's really, truly endless powder skiing.
It's a lot of acres, Brody.
That's right, Allie.
So because of the quality, quantity, and diversity of our terrain, we can offer a full range of programs to accommodate skiers and snowboarders at a strong intermediate level and up. We have a powder intro program as an entry point, which is the program that I love to do so I can go at a slower pace and take a million photos as I go, all the way to programs like steep shots and pillow drops. If you're wondering if your skills are ready for heli-skiing, you can get in touch with Alex and Mercedes in the chat to learn more. Now, to share their love of powder skiing and to highlight some differences between our remote and town-based experiences, Mike and Peter are going to explain a bit more about our operations. If you take a look at the map on the screen and find Galena and Kootenai, you can see where these lucky guys get to work every day. So Mike and Peter joining us in their finest plaid today. Over to you two.
Thanks, Allie. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. Like Brody said, my name's Mike. I'm the area manager and one of the guides at Cmh Lodge. And I'm totally addicted to tree skiing, and that's why I call Galena my home.
And I'm Peter. I'm the area manager for Kootenai, and I'm also a mountain guide. And I've been in Kootenai now for 8 years and worked in the Bugaboos for about a dozen before that.
So CMH basically has 2 different types of accommodation that you can use. One is remote mountain lodges like the one I work at. And the way that works is you get picked up in either Calgary or Kelowna, jump on a bus, travel through the mountains, and you get to an area where the helicopter can meet you. You fly into a fully self-contained lodge and you're there for the duration of your trip. And the other type is town-based. And to be honest, I have never worked in a town-based operation. So I'm going to turn it over to my buddy Peter to explain how that works.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, so CMH has 2 town-based operations. There's Kootenai, based in the village in a cusp, which is like a classic West Kootenai town. And then there's Revelstoke. This is the world-famous mountain mecca, based out of Revelstoke, BC. Both areas operate out of hotels, and that's the Lodge at Arrow Lakes in the cusp and the Region Hotel in Revelstoke. And they're all inclusive, just like a remote lodge. And Mike will talk a little bit more about that again. But the main difference with the town-based operation is you drive to the hotel. You can drive right to the location, pull up. And once you're based out of the hotel in the mornings, we do van shuttles to our staging areas. And those shuttles can be anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. It just depends how far we need to go afield. But being in a town has no effect on the terrain or the quality of the skiing that you receive. It's just as good as any remote area, and arguably, I think it might be better, but that's because I work at Kootenai, town-based operation. Mike?
Sounds like I should come and join you for a week. It sounds pretty good.
You really should, yeah.
I'd like that. So one of the big advantages, I think, to being in a remote mountain lodge is the lodges are built right in the middle of the ski terrain. So imagine in the morning, you put on your boots, you walk out, meet your guide, get in the helicopter. 10 minutes later, you're standing on top of a run that may become the best run of your life. That's pretty sweet. And at the end of the day, you fly back down, get out, wander into the drawing room, take off your boots, go to your room, All you got to do is wander down the hall, go get a drink, maybe a snack, go to the hot tub. It's all self-contained. That's pretty nice. You never have to leave the lodge. But to me, probably the best thing about a remote mountain lodge is that you're living with all the other skiers and staff for your trip. And it's awesome to watch people kind of form friendships and bonds because they're all out doing something they love together, and that's heli-skiing. And that's really cool. You know, at night, sometimes around the dinner table, there's 4 or 5 different languages being spoken, but it doesn't matter what language you speak. Sharing a story of your day and a smile and a laugh, that's what makes CMH so special, and that's the magic of what we're doing out here. Now, no matter how nice the remote mountain lodges are, and we all have wonderful hot tubs to enjoy, nothing can beat the pure natural hot springs like they have in the Cusp. So I'm going to let Peter explain what that's all about.
Yeah. So in the Cusp at Kootenay, we finish our day at the historic Nakusp Hot Springs. It's a developed hot springs, but it's a great place to finish the day, and it adds to the whole West Kootenay vibe. And you know, Mike, that sounds great at the remote lodges, but I have something to ask you. Do you know what I like best about town-based heli-skiing?
No, Peter, what do you like best about town-based heli-skiing?
Well, Mike, let me tell you. No, it's heli-skiing. We're in the mountains with a helicopter. You know, how cool is that? You know, it's deep powder, it's amazing tree skiing, it's alpine bowls. It's all of those things that you're just talking about in the remote lodges as well. There's a couple of things though that are different. So town-based operations, they offer lower price points, and they also offer shorter trips, sort of 4 and 5 day trips. So if you're short on time, you can hit a 4 or 5 day trip, or if you're uncertain of all this heli-skiing stuff, you can sign up for a shorter trip. They're also, as I mentioned before, they're easy in, easy out, and so you can drive right to the facility. And if you are driving into one of the town-based operations, I would recommend adding a day or two pre or post your trip to hit some of the really cool ski areas that are all along the West Kootenays, along the Powder Highway. But the really cool thing about the 2 town-based operations, Nakusp and Revelstoke, they're authentic mountain towns. They're just really beautiful places and great places to be. And you know, after supper, if you decide you want to go for a wander and explore the towns, you know, you might be lucky to find some of the local characters that exist in every mountain town in the world. They might actually be even speaking a different language as well. Remember to wear your plaid, of course. But also, you may also end up in the oldest operating mountain bar or hotel bar in British Columbia. It's almost over 100 years old, and it was renovated in the 70s, so it's got this really cool 70s vibe, and it's a fun places. But you know, as I mentioned before, I've worked both in the Bugaboos for a number of years. I worked in almost all the remote lodges and all the town lodges, and you know, I like skiing where the skiing is the best. And if you hit any of the areas, you're probably going to have one of the best days of your lives.
I think that's what it comes right down to. No matter where you go or where you decide to stay, you're going to have a great time with CMH, and we just look forward to seeing you here skiing with us. Now back to you, Brody.
Oh, sorry guys. The hair and makeup department's a little lacking here at Bugaboo Studios. Well, gents, thanks for giving us some insight into your operations, and look forward to seeing some amazing skiing coming out of your areas soon. Well, right now I want to speak a little bit to our loyalty program at CMH. Known as the Million Foot Club, it started as a heartfelt thank you to our long returning guests for their patronage. Initially, our founder, Hans Moser, gifted skiers a snazzy blue blazer with a gold CMH patch embroidered on the chest. But soon the demand for more practical mountain wear led to the gift of a ski suit. The loyalty program really started exploding at that point. In the book Bugaboo Dreams by Topher Donahue, he writes that the loyalty program at CMH actually spurred on the loyalty programs that now exist in our airlines. Fast forward to today, and after skiing 1 million vertical feet with us, you're awarded a CMH specifically designed Arc'teryx ski suit like the ones in this photo. Here's some stats about the Million Foot Club today. Since 1965, over 5,000 people have achieved 1 million foot status. 50 of those people have achieved over 10 million feet with us. So it usually takes 6 to 10 trips to get to a million. So these 50 folks have skied 60 to 100 times with us. There's 47 countries represented in our Million Foot Club. And all of the lower 48 states in the US also have members in the club too. At a little over 22 million feet is the current record, and I'll speak to that in a moment. And a little over 14 million feet is the active female record held by Virginia Bonar, and she's done most of it on a monoboard. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the 22 million foot man, Andy Epstein. Here's an image of Andy at our shop in the Cmh Lodge, and he's standing beside a mannequin that is donning his very first million foot suit. And I'm pretty sure that's Andy's handsome face there on the mannequin too. Andy started skiing with CMH in 1977, and he's joined us on over 140 trips. Andy also enjoys skiing at CMH with his family. His wife, kids, brothers, and nephews have all joined him on trips with us. Now, they also come and join us in July and August during our Summer Adventures program. So on behalf of CMH, Andy and his family, I'd like to extend a huge thank you for sharing all of your life-changing mountain experiences with us. Well, speaking on the phone for countless hours with Andy is Katie, and I'm sure she has some interesting perspective on the 22 million foot man. Katie?
Hi, Brody. I certainly do. I really enjoy working with Andy and have for the past decade. His passion for CMH is inspiring, and he has so many great stories to tell, and boy, does he love telling them. Andy has actually tracked and rated every ski day with us since he started back in 1977. So if anyone's wondering, back on December 18th in 1995, he thought the skiing was a 7 out of 10. One of my favorite things to do with Andy is to talk about heli-skiing, how it's changed, and all the fun, new, exciting things we can bring to our lodges. Everyone in our office knows who Andy Epstein is from the day they start.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. I'd also like to highlight another family that has skied their way into our Million Foot Club. The Miller family has 3 generations of heli-skiers amongst their ranks. Stephanie Miller has 4 million feet and has been skiing with us for 14 years. Her father started skiing with us in 1999 and has a little over 2.5 million feet. Stephanie's children are also avid heli-skiers. I've got a little clip from a trip that the Millers took at the Gothic Lodge recently. Roll it. It's Miller time.
What I want to share with you is sort of the thought processes I have whenever I'm talking to people about CMH. And the first thing that always comes to my mind is how much CMH has changed my life from the very beginning. Personally, it's just changed my approach to fitness, diet, and exercise, because these trips are the incentive for us to train all year long. It's given me an exposure to the outdoors, an appreciation for outdoor activities and global sustainability that I think is paramount also to the CMH concept and mission. What should never be overlooked are the lifelong friendships you make with people from around the world, which are truly so special here at CMH. And I've just been really fortunate to be able to share those values and experiences with my children, thanks to the Family Week at the Gothics, and obviously thanks to my family.
Right on. Well, wouldn't you know it, we have some of the Miller clan live on the Huddle today. Stephanie and her daughter Madison are here from Colorado. Hi, ladies. How's it going?
Hi, Brody. Hi, Brody.
Hi. So, Stephanie, tell me a little bit about your trip to the Gothics in that video. I heard it was a New Year's week?
Yeah, we like to go to the Family Week over New Year's. We've been doing it now several years. It's an amazing time. We get a lot of repeat families, so my kids have gotten to know the other families, and the snow can be absolutely spectacular. So for us, they have etched their way into our family calendar as a must-do for every year.
Nice. And Madison, tell me about the snow that week. Rumor has it snowed a ton on that trip.
It did, and every year the snow has almost gotten better. It's really amazing because after skiing with CMH, the resorts are a little bit ruined for you as you kind of come with this new idea of what a powder day actually looks like.
I bet. Okay, ladies, I've put together some rapid fire questions that we're going to ask on each of the shows over the course of the winter. And you two are going to be the first to answer them for us. Are you both ready?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, Stephanie, I'm going to start with you. What's your favorite Cmh Lodge?
So I get asked this question whenever I'm trying to corral any of my friends to come along with us and how to pick which lodge to go to. I will tell you, I love the Gothics. Obviously, we go there for Family Week. It's a great place to start the season. We've also been at the Family Week in the Caribous, and the scenery there is just absolutely spectacular. You actually get lost in the mountains and the grandeur of skiing in Canada. I have to admit, I have a soft spot in my heart for the Monachies. I love the tree runs, but needless to say, I really have to train for those weeks because the end of those runs are definitely a leg burner. We've had great times at the Bugs. The beautiful spires there are also a spectacular view when you're skiing. The speed at the Bobby Burns. So ultimately, I can say rave reviews about all the lodges that I've been able to go to. I've been lucky to go more to the remote lodges. That tends to be more where we picked. I really like sort of getting away from it all. But at the end of it, the snow, the skiing, the staff has made each one of my weeks memorable, and I love them all.
Wow. Well, that was very political, non-partisan way of answering. Okay. Maddie, what about you? What's your favorite?
Well, I haven't been to as many lodges as my mom, and my youngest brother and I are continually asking for a trip to the Monachies, which fingers crossed should be soon. I've visited the Gothics and the Caribous for both of their family weeks, where we have gotten incredibly close with the staff, especially at the Gothics. One of our favorite stories is for New Year's, one of our first years at the Gothics, my youngest brother actually made it into the staff photo.
Nice. Impressive. Okay, next question. What's your favorite Cmh meal, Stephanie?
All of them, if that's a possible answer. There's nothing more than a delight to go on vacation and not have to think about any meals, right? So for me to go, all the meal planning's done, the meal preparation and the cleanup. So that is a truly wonderful part about these vacations and is not to be minimized. At New Year's, the feast is just unbelievable at the Gothics. It seems like after we think that one meal part is done, there's just another part coming out. It's just a spectacular with each meal. But I have to admit, I have a little bit of need to investigate the cookie jar from the moment that I arrive at the lodge. So the first couple of years, I didn't know about that. And then I discovered it later on. And so there's a cookie jar with always rotating cookies that are absolutely spectacular, and they become part of your regular diet. But one thing one can't say about CMH is that there's any lack of eating, right? You get used to the breakfast, the heli snack, lunch, tea goodie, dinner, cheese board, such that by the time you go home, you're sort of set on eating every 2 hours. And absolutely, it's just spectacular meals are associated with every one of my days and trips at all the different lodges.
Cool. Yeah, that's something I tell my guests. It's small bouts of skiing between meals. And if you haven't eaten in 2 hours, something terribly wrong has happened, right?
I'd have to agree with you on that.
Maddie, what about you? What's your favorite CMH meal?
Let's see. We love the lunches. We found that the staff has always been very amenable and really flexible, especially as when we were younger, we were quite picky eaters. And so it was very easy for us to get peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. However, as we've grown up a little bit more and our tastes have matured, my brothers and I have really come to love the chicken curry soup served at lunch.
That's my favorite soup too. Nice. Okay, let's see. Stephanie, your favorite CMH run?
So this is a tough one because I always know the name at the run at the beginning and then don't seem to remember it by the end. So I'm not always really good at remembering which runs we've done and probably shouldn't be admitting to that out loud. But for me, it's a great experience because either it becomes familiar and it's like finding old lost long friend as soon as we start skiing, or it's a brand new experience. So each one is spectacularly fun for me.
Cool. Maddie, how about you? Your favorite run?
Let's see, I have a couple off the top of my head. One of my absolute favorite Alpine runs would be Sunrise at the Cmh Lodge, which is this beautiful glacier run where it feels like you're skiing on pillows. But we don't get to do it too often. Other than that, though, I really have a soft spot in my heart for both Marshmallow and Spiderweb, which are both also at the Cmhs.
Very cool. Okay. Last question, ladies. What does CMH mean to each of you? Stephanie?
So CMH is really a special part of our lives. I went years ago on my first trip. My father was getting his 1,000,000-foot suit. It was supposed to be a one-time event, but I was lucky enough to become quickly into the a member of their international group. And so I was asked to repeatedly come back with them. And then we've been able to expand that to trips with my kids and then some other trips. So I've definitely been able to have CMH become a constant in my life. Obviously, this year is a little bit of an exception to that. But for me, it's, as I mentioned in the video, really changed the way I approach things. For me, it's motivation and guidance for physical fitness throughout the year. It helps keep my diet in check. It's given me a broader appreciation and love for the mountains and the wilderness. My friendships span the globe from people that I've met at CMH. And even at home, I have some great friends that I now share a lot of experiences with in Colorado that I've all met through CMH. We've got great relationships with people in the staff, as Maddie said. It's great to know that your family extends so far and that you're going to regularly see them when you're on holiday. I think for me, when people are always asking me, you know, am I worried about going heli-skiing? Am I worried about the safety? For me, that's something that is always something that brings me back to CMH. Without a doubt, from the training that we get with the transceivers and the beacons, tree well training, to the obvious experience and knowledge of the guides, as well as the staff, I feel extremely safe in the wilderness skiing environment that CMH offers. And for me, there's no question that that's where I want to return.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. And Madison, what about you? What does it mean to you?
I don't know if my answer will be quite as eloquent as that, and I think she covered most of my thoughts as well, but it really is a different type of vacation for our family. It's really nice to be able to spend isolated time with not only my actual family, but kind of this chosen family of CMH that I've grown to know and love, and who have seen me and the rest of my siblings grow up. It's really just an entirely different experience where I get to, enjoy the outdoors with the people I love the most.
Awesome. Well, having the chance to ski and hike with both of you, I can definitely say you're a part of our CMH family. And so right there on the heartstrings, your answers. So thanks so much for joining us today. And a huge thanks for sharing your family adventures with us in the mountains. And I can't wait to get out there again with you guys really soon. So thanks, you guys. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Brody. Thanks for having us. We missed this winter with you.
Back over to you, Allie.
Thanks, Brody. Stephanie's got us all thinking about that lodge cookie jar now. So to learn more about the booking process, if you're interested, let's bring back our in-house expert, Katie. So Katie, it's my first time heli-skiing. How do I book a trip with CMH?
Thanks, Allie. The first step would be to check out our website. If you're concerned about your ability level and which lodge is right for you, take our ability quiz to help narrow down which lodge and program would be the best fit, as we do have a wide variety of lodges with different ability levels. Check out the link. Get your friends together and pick a few trip options, or join us solo. As Mike and Stephanie said, lifelong friendships are made here at CMH. Our trip planner will show all of our lodges, dates, and prices. If you have any questions or want more information, be sure to reach out to your local representative or call our Banff office.
Awesome. And when can I book a trip for next winter?
Yes. We will start taking bookings for the 2021-2022 winter season next week. The chart here shows how trips will be available on a monthly basis. See here, the trips for December 21st for 2021 are available next week, January 19th. So next week, we will start taking bookings for the 2021-2022 December season. The chart also is available on our website planner. If you need any help making sense of the new schedule or have any questions, please give us a call.
Beauty. Thanks for that information, Katie.
No problem, Allie.
Okay, and now it's the time that you've all been waiting for. I hope you've been paying attention. The first person to put the correct answer into the chat will win a CMH water bottle filled with goodies. The question is, how many acres of skiable terrain does CMH have? The question again, how many acres of skiable terrain does CMH have? While you're entering your answers into the live chat, Brody's going to join me back on screen to get into some Q&A. So welcome back, Brody. To address some of the common questions that came into the chat today, question number 1, how many runs do you typically get to do in a day?
Well, I think, Allie, that really depends on which ski program you're enrolled in. So if you're in a powder intro or powder masters program with us, you're looking at skiing somewhere between 6 to 10 runs in a day at a relaxed pace. And let's say you're in our small ship or 3 group programs, so the pace is a little bit quicker. You could see yourself skiing anywhere from 10 to 18 runs a day. And also, we do offer the opportunity to come home at lunchtime if you're just looking for a half day.
Okay, and if someone did head in at lunchtime, what kind of activities can they do at the lodge?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. There's a whole lot of different things you can do here. We have Nordic skiing here at the Bugaboos, for example. There's snowshoes you can take out. We've got fat bikes downstairs that you can roll around the property on. The spa is open, so you could get a massage or just curl up and read a nice book off the bookshelf here. It doesn't really matter.
Sounds good. And which CMH Lodge do you recommend for a first-time heli-skier?
Well, also depending on what type of program you're looking for, and if it's your first time heli-skiing ever, I'd probably steer you towards a 4 or 5 day program. If you're an intermediate skier who can ski blue and black runs confidently but have never skied powder, I'd steer you towards a powder intro program. Really, I can say that a lower price point, as Mike and Peter had mentioned, would be our town-based operations, and they will get you in the door for a 4 or 5 day trip there too. So it's really what's available, and one of our reps or agents can help steer you towards the best choice.
Awesome. And then final common question from the chat today, how much does a CMH trip cost?
Okay, so again, a degree of variability there depending on the time of year in which you come and what product you're into. Entry level, shoulder season, town-based operation, say about $1,000 a day, all the way up to our exclusive Valemont private package being around $4,000 a day, where a private flight from the International Lodge right to the Valemont facility itself is included.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Brody.
Hey, you're welcome. Well, thanks for all the questions. The ones that we didn't get a chance to answer live here, Alex and Mercedes are going to answer in the chat bar for you. And we've had a few moments, so we're going to announce the winner of the giveaway. First, the answer to the skill testing question, which was how many total acres of skiable terrain does CMH have? CMH has 3 million acres of skiable terrain. And it looks like we've got our winner. Drum roll. Peter Leuler, you've got 3 million as the correct answer. Awesome. Congrats, Peter. And we are going to get in touch with you for your shipping details. So it's just about time to wrap up our first huddle. But before we do, I want to share some highlights of our next episode, which is coming up on January 28th. We're going to talk to a guide and a pilot from CMH and Alpine helicopters, and they're going to tell us what it takes to enter into those exciting careers and some of the fun things that are going to happen along the way. Well, let's bring everyone back in to say goodbye. From all of us here in the huddle today, thanks so much for joining us to talk online about the amazing sport of heli-skiing. from our flannel-clad igloos of the Great White North. Cheers, eh? And see you all very soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.